What is up, y'all, and welcome to today's video. Look, I'm going to first and foremost apologize for not being that active. Actually, not really apologize, just kind of explain. I needed a break, so I took a little bit of a break. We're going to get back to filming next week. Got the Knucklehead Championship down here in Huntsville, Alabama. And then after that, I'm really going to double down and focus on my health, getting my fat butt back in shape, just going fishing for fun and that kind of stuff. Still been fishing, just took some time to not film it and kind of enjoy myself. Got a couple videos in the pipeline. Austin has worked on one. We're waiting on permission from Bonafide to release the full PWR 129 walkthrough. But as you can tell by the title of this video, I am responding to Aliex, who just did his video, Pedal Drives Are Dead 2.0. And he actually reached out to me before he did the video and said, hey man, if I do this video, will you respond to it and give me your opinion so that we can, cross promote between the channels and get the audiences to go back and forth. So for those of you guys that don't know Aliex yet, I'll link up his channel in the description box below. If you do know him, you know that the guy's crazy. He does some crazy stuff. He's the flip the kayak guy. He has some really good points, and sometimes he's just kind of off the wall, squirrel, anyway. So he's Aliex. He's a crazy Cuban. He does his thing. What you see is what you get, and I appreciate that. But what I wanted to do is, honor his request and respond to his video. So he's talking about the fact that pedal drives are dead. We did a podcast together with him and one of his friends, or a live stream. We got really in depth in this, so I'm going to keep this as quick as possible. Obviously, I don't think pedal drives are dead, and I'm not as passionate about the topic or creating the video that screams that as much as he is. But I will address the categories that he talked about. He talked about hands-free when it comes to fishing from a pedal drive kayak. He talked about the future is motors. He talked about the fact that you don't get exercise from a fishing kayak. He talked about the cost, and he talked about the efficiency, and then, the whole having to register it thing. So I'm going to walk through each one of those, and then at the end, I'll kind of give you a little bit of a summary. I'm going to try to keep this video, like I said, as short as I can. It's obvious that one of the selling points that kayak manufacturers use for pedal drive kayaks, I don't know why I just did that, but anyway, the reason that they do pedal drive kayaks is that they do hands-free. And let's be real, if you're fishing from a pedal drive kayak and you're constantly reaching down to adjust the rudder, it's not really hands-free. It could potentially be more hands-free than having to constantly paddle with your paddle, but it's not as hands-free as using a motor, because you can set the motor, you can steer with your feet, but at the same time, motors also aren't 100% hands-free either. They may be a little bit more hands-free when you're cruising, but one situation where a pedal drive actually kicks the crap out of a motor is, let's say you're fishing a dock and you skip up under there and you set the hook and the fish is pulling you under. If you're in a pedal drive that has instant reverse, like the Natives or all the pedal drive styles like Old Town, and, I'm sorry, I'm forgetting somebody, but you know what I'm saying, the ones that you pedal, you can basically start backpedaling, and you can pull yourself away from that cover, so you've kind of got an advantage. With a motor, you're going to have it in reverse, reach down and put the motor in reverse, and that kind of thing. So there are situations where the pedal drive actually has advantages in the hands-free category, but I do agree that for the most part, it's not as hands-free as fishing a motor. The times that I have used a pedal drive, one of the biggest advantages that I've seen is that when I'm getting blown up on a shoreline, I can sit there and backpedal, and I can hold myself in position, or when I set the hook on a fish like I talked about, I can pull myself away from the cover, reach down and turn the boat and kind of pull the fish away. I can do the same thing with a power pole, so by and large, that advantage is somewhat negated for me because I'm mostly in shallow water, okay? Deep water is truly, in my opinion, where the pedal drive thrives. It's where the pedal drive has the biggest advantage, and there's a huge place for it in the arsenal. In fact, quite a few of the top competitors out there are very keen on using pedal drive kayaks. It just hasn't really fit my style of fishing, but we will talk about how I'm adding a pedal drive and why I'm adding a pedal drive kayak to my arsenal this fall and into next spring, and it'll be under that category of exercise. The future is motors is another point that he made. And, to a certain extent, I agree with that, and I've been one of the advocates for pushing motors. I still paddle more than most people think somebody that's as big as I am would paddle. And that also ties into the whole exercise thing. There's weeks that I'll paddle 60, 70 miles, but I'm not really getting exercise because you're not using a large muscle group. You're not getting your heart rate up. You're not getting into that target cardio zone. Are you moving? Yes. Are you keeping your joints active and doing all those other things? Are you getting sunlight in your eyes? Are you getting vitamin D? All those things? Absolutely. But you're not truly exercising. So to me, if you really want to get an exercise in a kayak, the pedal drive is actually the bigger advantage because you're recruiting a larger muscle group. To a certain extent, you have to lean back a little bit, so you're kind of in a crunch. Your obliques are flexed. You're holding your hands and your head out. It's going to make you somewhat uncomfortable if you're not adjusted correctly. But you are recruiting the largest muscle group, and you can go longer and get into that cardio zone, get your heart rate up more so than you can paddling. The only way that you can truly get your heart rate way up in the paddling arena is just to paddle super hard. And if you do that, you're not really being efficient, and you're not going to be able to maintain that for a long time. So from an exercise standpoint, if that's truly what you're getting into kayak fishing for, then the pedal drive is by far the number one choice because, again, you're going to be able to cover more water over the course of a long period of time unless you have a super efficient touring style kayak, which none of us have as fishermen. So from the standpoint of that, the pedal drive is going to be more efficient at getting you exercise because you're using a larger muscle group. You can go for a longer period of time and you're burning more calories. So truly, if you're looking for exercise, then the pedal drive kayak is the way to go. Now, cost is going to be one where I actually play both sides of the argument. Okay, I'm going to take Aliex's side, and then I'm also going to talk about why things are the way they are and where I hope they go. So here's the deal. When a manufacturer builds a pedal drive kayak, they have to cost out the parts, the volume, the pieces, the recoupment of the mold cost, and all those other things in how many units they expect to sell. So if they don't sell the boat with the pedal drive, they run the risk of having excess pedal drive sitting around. They run the risk of not selling them. And then for every one that they built that they don't sell, it's going to sit there and it's going to be stagnant or, fatigued inventory that's going to cost them. The other problem is you still have to completely outfit the boat with the rudder, the steering, all of that stuff that adds to the price of the boat in the manufacturing process so that if the person decided to add a pedal drive later, that they're able to do so and not having to completely rig the boat out themselves because it's not practical for most consumers and even a lot of dealers. So that's why the boats come with the pedal drive, and that's why you're going to always carry that little bit of extra price tag. Now, let me play the opposite side of it. As a consumer and a fan of kayak fishing, I would love to see boats like the Titan X or the P127 from Bonafide or the Old Town, PDL 126. I'd love to see some of those boats come without the pedal drive. So if I wanted to, I can throw a motor on it. And if I decide to add the pedal drive later, I can. Again, as I previously explained, I understand why it's not that way. But as a consumer and a fan of the sport, that is something that I wish could happen. And it may be something that can happen down the road. The last thing that Aliex really talked about after he went off on some tangents talking about fishing signs and other stuff is kind of an efficiency thing and a registration thing. I think registration is kind of the silliest argument. You register your car, you get a driver's license, you buy a fishing license. All of those things are things that you have to do to fish. And registering a fishing kayak is not that hard. If you have your MSO, your manufacturer statement of origin, if you have your receipt, and you go to the state website to figure out what it is you have before you go to the DMV or wherever you go in your state, it's not that hard. What happens is people go to the office ill-prepared, and then when they get there, they're frustrated because now they got to make 2 or 3 trips. So again, I will be doing a video this fall on how to register a fishing kayak to make it easy for you guys, and I'll look up a number of different states and try to find the ones that have the weirdest and most obscure rules. I'm not doing a lot of editing and cutting back and forth in this video. It's just going to be a straightforward, kind of talking head response video to Aliex. And we're going to have some videos out later this week, and we're going to pick back up with our weekly and even bi-weekly videos over the course of the next month. Again, needed a break, had a lot going on. So please bear with me, and I appreciate you guys that continue to tune in. Go watch some old videos, click on some playlists, and, kind of help continue to support the channel. From an efficiency standpoint, so far, most fishing kayaks that are designed to pedal actually motor better than the ones that are designed to paddle. So I think that's why you see a lot of people buying pedal kayaks adding a motor to it because they're bigger, more volume. The motor doesn't suck the back end of the boat down and cause it to run inefficiently. But I do agree with the fact that Aliex said the boat should be designed to be motored. That's also why I'm really excited about the PWR 129 from Bonafide, because even though it is designed to still paddle, it's still truly a displacement hull. It takes into account a lot of the factors that will make that boat motorized better, both bow mount and stern mount. And that's why I'm really excited about that evolution in the Bonafide line, which you guys know I'm a big fan of. And, you know, it's my preferred fishing kayak for 90% of my expeditions. And so I'm excited about that. But I also love to paddle. And I'll end the video with this. I love to paddle. I love motors when I need them, but I really promote the hell out of them so that they're there for the people that do need them, because if there isn't a market for them, they won't be there for the people that need them. And I also think that you should just pick what you love. If you like to pedal, pedal. If you like to paddle, paddle. This like paddle versus pedal power and then power versus pedal power, blah, 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 all that crap. It's just divisive and it doesn't make any sense. So you freed them the way you want to free them. Let other people free them the way they want to free them. Consider all the variables. If somebody asks about a pedal kayak, don't be like, you should just get a motor, blah, 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 blah. Tell them the pros and cons. Help them make an informed decision. They'll be happier with their product. And the one thing you got to remember is you don't have to be happy with the purchase somebody else makes. Only they do. See you guys in the next video.